Hi, thank you for your question. So first, let me show pictures from the time I'm referring to, because a lot of people see me now and they're kind of like, what, when I talk about this stuff? And as a trigger warning, obviously I will be speaking about some very sensitive topics, so viewer beware. So I mainly was in recovery for an eating disorder, but it was a recovery program that literally incorporated like every aspect of recovery, like mental health in general, substance abuse, pretty much just everything. It was an outpatient program, and it took me a long time to complete it. I literally was in and out of the program, probably, gosh, I honestly want to say, because I had my son in 2013. I would say almost 10 years, not quite. Ironically, when I started transitioning, that's when I finally completed it. But I got sober before I completed my recovery program. I would not say my main problem was like drugs or alcohol at all, which is why like on here you typically don't hear me like calling myself an addict. If something was available at the time, I would definitely take heed of it. But becoming sober was a very easy decision for me. It wasn't something I super struggled with. Mental health, though. Honestly, the reason I became sober is because when my son was 6 months old, I left his father, who was an addict. And honestly, if addiction was my son's father's only issue, I would have really pushed for him to be involved in my son's life to some extent. I wouldn't have had to push, honestly, because he always wanted to be involved. And he was involved for a very long time. But unfortunately, he had other issues that were very, very dangerous. There was a very turmoilous, I don't know if that's how you say it, court battle. It was very bad. He was very combative, and I wanted to make sure that I was clean at all times in case I had to pass a drug test. It was a very heavy case because he had, pled guilty to assaulting me, and there literally were so many restraining orders that the state was going to take over. I was facing, like, psych evals. He had to take psych evals. We were both facing drug testing, so I wanted to make sure that no matter what, there wouldn't be a reason for my son to be taken from me. When my son was 7, which was just 2 years ago, his dad died of an OD. And it's very sad because, I was with my son's father before I really took recovery seriously and everything. My mental health was not good when I was with him. I was not sober when I was with him. But you know how everybody always says, like, nobody's gonna change if it's not for themselves? I agree with that to an extent. I wanted to change not only for myself, but for my child. And he's a part of me. My son's father always wanted to change for me. Or that's what he would say. So I don't think he really was serious about changing. When I say recovery, I mean everything.